All right, guys, it's Khang. Welcome to my channel, Wholesale to Million. We're back with another powerhouse interview, you guys. Our special guests today have built a million with an S, $1 million real estate empire, combined of fix and flip, wholesale, and buy and hold. I'm going to have him share with you guys his stories and his knowledge, so you guys of how he did it, so you guys can learn and create your own success. And you guys have asked, and I deliver. So let's help me welcome today, powerhouse, Mr. Maxwell from North Carolina. How's it going, buddy?
I appreciate the intro. That sounds like a lot of hype. I like it.
Hey, Max. Hey, I just want to say thank you so much, man. I have my audience was asking you, said, hey, reach out to you. So I really appreciate you taking time coming on, pouring some information and some knowledge to the audience. I'm sure that they're going to enjoy this.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
No problem, man. Are you ready to blow it up?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, Max, let's get right in. Hey, and I also want you guys to know that this is my first time. I've watched a couple of Max videos. The guy is straightforward, honest. He's here to help, and that's why I think that's why he created the channel. And so I love it when you guys saying, hey, let's get Max on. So Max, let's get right into it, man. Share your stories of how you first got it in, and maybe a little bit on your first deal.
Okay. So, a quick blast of the past. Sorry. So when I graduated high school, I went to the military. So I was in the Air Force for a few years. And then when I got done with that, I ended up coming home and getting a real estate license. And this is all prior to the real estate crash. So I did pretty well for a couple years. And then we had the market crash. So the market crash really took a toll on a lot of people. And I got out of real estate. I never really got to get my foot in the door with it as much as I thought I would have initially. But, it went well. I did the thing. And then about 2008, I moved to California. And that was pretty much my real estate experience right there. And after I moved to California, I was there for a while and did some work. And I traveled across the country with a great job I had. And in 2015, late 2015, around Thanksgiving, I decided to go ahead and come back to North Carolina. So now I'm in North Carolina and I'm like, what do? I want to get into this real estate again, but I don't want to be a broker at this point. I just want to buy some investment properties. And I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough money to buy it like I needed. The credit was probably wasn't as good as it needed to be to buy a house. So I always remembered back in the day, somebody talked about some type of wholesale and stuff. And I started looking at it in YouTube and podcasting, and boom, I found it and I just got obsessed with it. And, from that point, man, I just went out and did it. I had no formal training. I just went out and needed to succeed. I mean, I remember it was so bad. Like I was overdrafting my checking account to go drive for dollars. Right. If you haven't been to that point, you haven't seen struggle. I mean, you're talking about having to know you only have $20 in your account, but you're going to go ahead and fill up the car with $45, So, that we did that. And then, my first month I made 21 grand wholesaling. Nice, man.
So tell us a little bit about, so do you got any mentor, or did you join any program or seminars, etc.?
I wish I could say I did, but I didn't. I graduated from YouTube University with a master's degree in wholesaling, and that's pretty much it. I cut out a lot of useless things out of my life. I didn't watch any football. I didn't watch any sports. I didn't watch TV. All I did was podcast and YouTube. And that consumed my entire day if I wasn't out doing something to make money. And that's how I learned. I became wholesaling.
Gotcha. So now, Max, how long did it took you to do your first deal?
I got my first deal under contract in 3 weeks.
Dang, bro.
Yeah. And I got my second deal under contract in 4 weeks. So in a month we did 21,000. And the first deal I got was driving for dollars in an old neighborhood that I lived in the past. And I felt comfortable with the neighborhood because I used to live there. So I knew what property values should be. I knew all the streets. I driving up and down, and I seen a house that was, was clearly vacant. Grass was high, and I knew how to use the county GIS site, which is the Geographical Information Systems. If people don't know, that's your best friend when it comes to wholesaling. And I looked up the person and found out what skip tracing was, and skip traced the person. And with that same day I found it, it's the same day we agreed on the phone for the price later that night.
Wow. Okay. So you got the deal tied up on the contract over the phone.
Yeah.
How do you, it's your first deal. So now you drop skip tracing. Do you mind sharing with us what site you used to skip trace?
So at the time I had a bail bonding license. So our company already had access to TLO.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I just used the software to find out the person, look up the person who like owned it, and reached out to her. And she inherited from her grandmother. And, she tried to be a landlord for a year, and the place was left in shambles, and it sat vacant for about 9 months before she got that call from me.
Gotcha. Okay. So this deal come from driving for dollar, right, Max?
Yeah. So driving for dollars, and then it was a driving for dollars. It was a probate, and it was tax delinquent, and it had code violations.
Dang,
so
everything.
Had everything. So this property is how I made 14 grand on this property, and I sold it. When I got it under contract, I met her at, I don't know if you know, guys know this. I met her at a Waffle House parking lot, and and I got the contract signed, and I had it sold and assigned that same weekend.
Wow! And how did you find your buyer?
It's a funny thing. I had no buyers, obviously, right? Nobody that was buying real estate. I put it on the Facebook Marketplace. And literally, I was in the front yard cutting bushes and trying to, cut the grass. I brought my lawnmower with this time just to make it look a little better.
Yeah.
And I took a picture while I was out cutting the grass. I posted the picture, says, buy this house. I think it was $56,000, I said. And I went back to cutting the grass, and people started pulling up and getting out. Can I see the house? I was like, sure. I wasn't expecting that, but yeah. And then a lady called me, said her husband was out of town, and he gave me a call, said, look, I'll be back on Saturday. He came to see the house, said it looked good, came back later that evening, brought his wife, and that the next day on a Sunday, we met at a UPS store location to get it notarized, and I signed the contract, and he closed 7 days later.
Dang! Wow. Hey, now Max, back onto the numbers, the number on the deal. So, how much you got it under contract for? Okay,
so if I remember correctly, I think it was, I offered her $30,000. Then I said I would pay the back taxes, which I think was like $38,000.
Okay.
I remember selling it for 56. So I think total of it was about 40 grand altogether. So yeah, I know I made 14,000 even on that property. So whatever 56, I'm not even great at math. Whatever 14 minus 56 minus 14 is what I got under contract for.
Max, dude, same here, man. A lot of people think like to be really good in real estate, you have to be like super good at numbers. I'm not good at numbers.
No.
I'm going to use a calculator.
Every day. I mean, I was a D and F student in high school. Honestly.
Gotcha. Hey man, so my first wholesale deal was at McDonald parking lot.
See what I'm saying? So comfortable, right? Meet me at the Waffle House. Everybody's comfortable knowing where they want to go.
Absolutely. Now, Max, we have a lot of people saying, and I've had people debate on this, and I want to get your opinion on it. Mm-hmm. What do you think about finding? Most people said, go find that deal, then the buyer, and then some people say, well, build up your buyers, then go give them the inventory that they're looking for. What's your thought on that, Max?
You know, here's my thing. Um, and what I kind of teach and preach. If you don't have a deal, you don't have anything, right? Buyers are important, yes. You can create what they call a shopping list. But if I bring you a 2018 S550 Mercedes-Benz and I tell you you can have it for $20,000 and it works absolutely fine, I don't need to find somebody that's in the business of buying houses, because that's such a deal. A deal's a deal, right? And people buy on impulse when it comes to a deal. So if you have the art of finding the deal, then buyers are going to come because you have the deals. So I know people that have, and then in reverse logistics, there's a guy in South Florida that he wholesales 0 properties. And all he does is he created the massive buyers list. And if you want for him to wholesale one of your properties, he charges like $2,500. He sends it out to a buyers list and it's sold in 24 hours. Dang. So there's 2 sides of it. I think if you need to master the art of getting the property, because you can end up having a buyers list and never master the art of having the property, because the buyer's not going to buy a bad deal regardless.
Agree, man. Agree. Now, also too is, Max, people drive for dollars. You know, when I first started out, people were saying, now drive for $1. It doesn't matter what kind of car you drive to go meet the seller.
You know, it doesn't and it does. Like I that's my excuse for buying expensive cars, right? So, you know, I've never been asked for a proof of funds letter, because the proof of funds is usually in the driveway when I pull up. But don't let that stop you. I mean, that obviously took a while. My first months, I drove a Volkswagen Jetta 2004. It had a bad starter on it, and I had to shake the car while turning the ignition in order for it to start. So listen, you don't need a good car. You can pull up on a bicycle for all I care, but you know, it's all about how you go in there and speak to the homeowner.
Hands down, I agree with you, Max. You guys, I remember when I first started, I drove around in a 1997 Honda Accord, has over 200,000 miles on it, paint come off. I pull up to the seller's house, and I went in there, chat with the seller, and got the deal done. Now I'm driving a nice car to go meet him. It's to me, it's the same. It's just like Max said, it's how you approach and how you handle yourself.
I agree with you 100%.
So Max, done with that. Now, could you share with us kind of where your business is at right now? I know your goal for 2018, I was watching your video, is to get a Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Lamborghini in April. So right now we do anywhere between 8 and 10 deals. We average about $100,000 a month in wholesaling fees. We're trying to get to around $200,000 a month. We want to do over $2 million this year in fees. And my team is very slim. I took a lot of time when I first hired my first virtual assistant to now where they're part of my family. So I have an entire staff of 4 that work in the Philippines that essentially run my entire business from their home. The only people that are here are my acquisition managers, and they're here locally and they go out to the appointments. So my entire team, the upfront team, is built in the Philippines, and I hired every single one of them. I've trained every single one of them. They're part of my family. You know, they're just a remote worker, and I pay them well because of how well they are.
Nice, nice, man. So right now, Max, like, what do you spend the majority of your, I guess, where do you spend your majority of your money on as far as marketing goes?
So, you know, that's interesting. So I don't send mail. I started sending mail when I was first started, just because that's what every podcast said to do. I'm very big on data. So I spend a lot of money, probably most on data, and that's acquiring You know, because my job now in the company, now that I really don't go to properties, I don't see them before they're bought or sold. It's necessarily just we find a property and I don't have to go see it because my focus, my day-to-day focus is to be able to feed the machine that I created with the entire team. And so it makes it easier for me. And so to answer your question without going down that rabbit hole, I spent a lot of money on data, the good data.
Gotcha. Okay. Now, Max, could you share if someone is just starting out, having very little to no money, how can they what do they need to do their first wholesale deal?
That's where I was. What I would do is start with where you live, the immediate area where you are familiar with, and drive for dollars, whether it's your car, borrow somebody's car, ride a bike around. And one thing I still enjoy in this business is driving for dollars. Sundays, you can catch me driving for dollars for no reason, because we have a system, but I like it. And every time I go out, I find a house. I mean, it's clay work. So I would recommend somebody driving in a neighborhood they're comfortable with, an area that they're comfortable with, and go down streets you haven't been down before in the area that you're comfortable with. Even if people overlook houses in their own neighborhood because it's such an eyesore. They almost forget about the house that's around the corner that's halfway boarded up or always got high bushes. But start there. And what I do is I have an app called Land Glide, which helps me drive for dollars. It allows me to go directly to the tax assessor's data directly from my cell phone. So I use Land Glide, and that really helps.
Great. And you guys, I'll make sure that I get that information from you, Max, so I can drop it in the descriptions for those of you who want to use it. Mm-hmm. Now, so basically, Max, your suggestion that they should do drive for dollars.
That's the way. I mean, listen, be honest, that still feeds my company probably $10,000 a month.
Wow.
I mean, just for me going out and finding one or two, I'll go out every Sunday if I'm in town, and I'll go find a property or two, and I'll have my co-caller jump on it. Gotcha.
Okay. So Max, like how involved are you in your business now?
I'm involved, but I'm just not doing the tasks that I used to do before. So I don't answer phones. I do end up sometimes negotiating with sellers if it comes down to it. I hire some best offer sales sometimes. I'm still in the mix, but my main focus is to make sure the phones ring. And that's my business because I have staff that I have to pay, and I've got a machine that works. So I have to feed that machine. And, it's really that simple. So my day-to-day is making sure that we have numbers to call. Our PPC campaign is up to date, and our Facebook campaigns are up to date. And, bandit signs are being put out exactly when they're supposed to be put out and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay, so you also do the bandit sign, Max?
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. We order 1,000 bandit signs every 10 weeks. We put out 100 bandit signs. I think it's 100 or 150. We put out every week. I think it's 100. We put out 100 bandit signs every week.
And I suppose those actually do pretty well for you.
Yeah, I would say we probably get 2 to 3 deals a month from bandit signs. So You're looking at $20,000 to $30,000 right there.
Dang! Wow. So you don't do any direct mail?
Zero. I don't like it.
Why? Quick question.
You can't work for any company and said, hey, I have something with a 1% response rate. Let's put some money behind it.
Gotcha.
Right? I mean, it makes sense for the guys that can send, 20, 30, 40,000 mail pieces a month. But I'm making phone calls for less than a penny, So, we do some creative things and with phone and stuff like that. And it's worked because it costs me, on reiskip.com, it costs me 24 cents to find somebody's number. And with that 24 cents, I can call that person 100 times and it still costs me 24 cents.
Gotcha.
Right. We've bought many houses where we go to the park, we call the person over and over again, 6 or 7 times. We leave a voicemail. They finally call us. We go on the appointment. We get the house under contract, and in the corner is a stack of mail from people sending mail. They say, "Oh, I got your postcard. You didn't get mine, but I understand."
Gotcha. So Max, also too, is I have people asking about, so basically what is your market like as far as pricing for housing?
So our medium price house for families starting out, buying a decent house is usually 150, 140, 150. So that's our medium price house there.
Gotcha. Okay. And based on that, what is your typical assignment fee?
$10,000.
On average?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. Now, Max, the next question is for those that I know that you have scaled your business up in a very short period of time to a great empire. So how can those that have some money, that have been doing it, and they're just, maybe cranking out, maybe they're making 50 to 100,000 a year wholesaling, how can they scale that up to like what you're doing?
If you can make $50,000 to $100,000 doing this, $1 million is no different, right? I know it sounds crazy, but $1 million is literally no different. If you found the formula to make $100,000, that means you're completing $10,000 plus a month, right? All you have to do is figure out how to systematize it. And that's what I did. I took one night and I wrote on this board behind me, and I wrote out my entire business. I wrote a YouTube video about it, and it explains my entire business. And here's what people need to understand. Before you just go out and start hiring people, you need to be able to have done this stuff yourself. So every part that I have other people doing in my business, I did it myself. I was good at it. And I taught people how to do it to replace me. So learn how to answer the phones, learn how to make the cold calls, go down to your county courthouse and make those people be tired of seeing you, because you have to become an expert in your county on how your county works. How does your probate system work in your county? How do tax and deed foreclosures work in your county? You know how many wholesalers I meet making $100,000, $200,000 a year, and I say, do you know if your state is a tax deed state or a tax lien state? I don't know. Like, how do you not know that information? I'm so good at the courthouse here. I can tell one of those ladies to take a day off, and I can fill a shift for her.
Wow. Because
I know how the probate system works. I know how the tax system works. I know what happens when somebody gets evicted I know the process of how foreclosures happen. I know that we're a judicial foreclosure state. Like, all of those things you need to know in order to do your marketing, because it makes a difference. For example, in a judicial foreclosure state, that means a judge has to grant permission for the mortgage company to move forward with a foreclosure. Well, if you know that process, then you know that paperwork has to be filed before the foreclosure can even start. And the paperwork that I'm talking about it's usually a petition to stand in front of the judge to grant permission for the foreclosure to even begin. So if you can catch it when the paperwork is filed, then you don't have to wait for it to get to the court before it reaches the dockets or before it goes on the sale log. You can catch it before it's even granted permission. And just learning how your state and county works, you can then say, okay, well, I know this piece of paperwork is filed 60 to 30 days before a foreclosure process even starts. And a foreclosure process in our town, it takes 6 months. So I just got a 7-month head start before it hits the sale log, and then everybody else is going after it.
Nice.
And when you learn systems like that, then you say, okay, that's how I'm going to create my business. That's how I'm going to get my foreclosure leads. And, when you become an expert in how your county operates, you're going to start making a lot of money.
Nice, nice, man. So you guys, I'll make sure that I'll put in the descriptions to Mac's YouTube channel. I actually seen that video. He really breaks it down to you guys step by step, exactly what's going on in his business. For those of you who wants to scale up, who wants to take your business to another level. So Max, I mean, really quickly is that when I was trying to scale up too, it used to be that one-man show. So could you quickly give those that have been going at it and they have been making money, but obviously they're now working in their business, so it's more like a job, like they own a job but not a business. So what do they kind of need to hire and then eventually pull themselves out? What are some tips?
Yeah, so for me, what I wanted to get rid of first was something that kept me busy, which was answering the phones. I knew that every time I put out bandit signs, I would get phone calls. And I hated being on the phone all day long. I was good at it, but I just didn't want to do it because it stopped me from doing some other things. So you have two options. You can either hire somebody to do what you're not good at first, or hire out the non-money making task. And answering the phone doesn't make money. Going on the appointments do. So my leads manager would answer the phone call, set the appointment, and then I would go on the appointments. I got really good at going on appointments, and then I hired somebody to go on appointments for me. And now I started working on my business versus in my business. And that way I can make it grow versus just, make it stay stagnant at that same level.
Very nice, very nice. I want to dig into a little bit more, Max. So when do people know when do they need to know that, it's time for me to hire? Like, when do they know that?
When it's time to retire?
No. When it's time to hire out. Like, let's just say that, when do they know that, hey, it's time to hire on this person, it's time to hire on this person, it's time to hire on that person?
Yeah, so what triggered it for me was I started missing leads. I started getting the calls, and then I started filtering through voicemails and calling the ones back I wanted to, which is not how a business works. If it enters your funnel, it should go through your entire process versus you picking out the ones that you want to work with. When I started looking and going back in my Podio and noticing deals that I didn't follow up with and I didn't call back and see that they sold for what I would have offered for it or stuff like that, I knew that, okay, I created this system, but I'm overwhelmed now. I need to scale. And scaling is a growing pain. It's not easy, right? So I decided, because of cost, initially I decided to go hire people in the Philippines. And I started with Alexis to do admin stuff. And then we brought on Leica to answer the phones. And training them takes some while to where you're comfortable, because I'm a control guy. So then you have to train them well enough to where you feel good. Now, we speak on Slack every few minutes or something like that. But other than that, I'm not hands-on. She's so good. She's training other lead managers for other companies in America now because she just understands it.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Yeah. So Max, do you have a script laid out for your girls that answer the call and filter them? Or do you just
Yeah, so definitely there's a script and a guideline, because there's certain information that I want to get from the caller. Now, do you have to stick exactly to it? No, because you want the flow of the conversation, right? And that's more important. The script is a guideline, but you need the guideline to initially start in this business, because if you don't know what to ask. So they're now flowing. She doesn't need that script anymore. She just knows it's a conversation. But she needed it to begin with. And now she understands it. I don't need a script either, because I just understand. I know the information I need to get from the person.
Nice, man. Max, I wish I would have known you when I first started out, because you guys, Max, I was just like you, man. I was like, take action, go and just start doing everything. Mm-hmm. I went to seminars. I started calling Craigslist. But you guys, just like Max said, the script is like a platform for you to use so you know what kind of question that you need to ask. Max, I didn't know anything. I was calling. I spent 6 months calling, no deal. because I didn't know what question to ask. So as I was going, as I was taking calls and I was learning. And so you guys, so to me right now, having a script, you know, for those of you who don't really know what to ask, having a script as a platform, so that way you don't waste your marketing money, because a lot of times, you know, I come across that motivated seller, right? Mm-hmm. But because not knowing what to say scares them off as well. Yep. So to me, having a good script is so important when you're getting in.
Mm-hmm. It is very important, but I like how you took action and you just move forward, because now you know all the wrong stuff not to do and say, which makes you a better cold caller on the phone. I mean, that's how people write scripts anyways, right? You have to find out what not to say before you put in what actually to say. So somebody's went through trial and error, you know, and yes, you do need a script. Yes. But you know what? I notice a lot of people always say, hey, I need your script. I need your script. Yes, you can get the script, but just don't become uber depending on it. Learn what you need to understand and why you're saying these things in the script, and make a lot more sense to you.
Nice. Nice, man. So Max, before we wrap it up, what are some, what are some last word tips, advice, or how can people get a hold of you?
You know, I'm very active on Instagram. It's the real Maxwell. My YouTube channel, I'm trying to get better at posting videos. I'm sure you know how difficult it can be to stay consistent there. But if you just search Maxwell on YouTube, you can find me. But you know, if you want to get started in this business, become obsessed with it. I think that's a true thing. You know, there's, you know how many people have an iPhone and don't ever listen to a podcast? You know, there's podcasts about everything. You know, jump on a podcast and listen to it. Don't listen to any music in your downtime. Listen to a podcast. Get on YouTube. Start searching, because you know I have a Facebook group called Wholesaling Houses Elite. You know, it's just like-minded people. I think there's 2,000 people in there, 1,500 people or so now. And people will ask questions that can be easily found if you just YouTube wholesaling. And that means that person is not obsessed with learning this thing. You know, so become obsessed with the topic of wholesaling real estate. And if you become obsessed with it to where your family members are telling you to shut up about real estate, then you know you've got something. It's just your brain's going to be forced to learn it.
Bro, hands down, absolutely agree, Max. I have people that watch one video and said, hey, I want to get in. And then on the bottom, they ask questions that, just like you said, that they could have just typed in and watch another video and explain it. But instead, they watched one video, got excited, and they just asked a question. Dude, do some research, do some legwork. You know, nobody's going to do it for you.
No.
So nobody's going to say, okay, here's the answer, boom, go do that. You know, nobody do that. So you got to put in your time, got to watch those videos, got to listen to those broadcasts, and then just whatever you couldn't get an answer, just Google, search it.
You're right. I mean, that's it. The answers are there. There's nothing I can tell you about wholesaling that is not already out there.
Absolutely agree, man. You know, that's why I have people said to, well, Khang, why are you giving all this free information and stuff out? Dude, like everything I give now, I've learned, and it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's like, you know, I actually have this guy ask me, so Khang, you started a channel and you're giving all the information. To me, actually, information everyone is giving is very similar. I think, you know, it's very similar information. It's up to you, and maybe you're connected with Max more because of his story, or maybe you connected with me more because of my story, and you connected with that person more, or this person more. But it's not really the information. It's actually you as a person that actually needs to do it to make it happen.
Yeah, I agree 100%, man. It's just, you know, this is a fun business to be in, and it can really change your life. I remember when I used to want to make $100,000 a year, and now I get mad if I don't make it that a month. Right. So it changes your perspective. And then I have friends because I'm obviously a part of larger masterminds, and we have guys that say, oh, okay, we did 200,000 in spreads this week. You know, that's 200,000 in wholesale assignments this week.
Dang.
So I'm always trying to grow my business to get to that next level because I'm small compared to what, you know, this business can actually do.
Gotcha, man. Yeah, no, absolutely agree. Hey, Max, if you don't mind, what mastermind group are you in?
So there's a couple of them. There's one that's just a Facebook group that we meet every quarter.
Uh-huh.
It's 44 members. It's called I think it's a hidden secret group. So I don't even know what the name of it is. And then I've been to Sean Terry's boardroom, and those are some high level people in there. There's different levels of the boardroom. They got the billionaire guys and then the boardroom elite. I've been able to attend those. But listen, you guys don't have to pay big money to be a part of a mastermind. You know, pick 10 guys that you know are doing well and say, hey, guys, let's go in this secret Facebook group and let's just share ideas. You know, I'm in one that, you know, nobody talks about and nobody's in the same market. We all share high level stuff with each other and it helps. And we keep each other accountable. I think our next meeting is in San Diego in March. So we just, you know, we meet once a quarter or so and keep each other accountable.
Nice. Max, before I let you go, and you guys, I'll make sure that I'll drop all the how you reach out and how you can find Max. I'll make sure I drop that all into the description. But before I let you go, Max, quick questions, and I know people ask this a lot, is that, so wait, are you wholesaling virtually?
So I've done a few deals virtually, but no, that's not the basis of my business. I am virtually pulling $1 million plus out of one county.
One county?
That county population is only 350,000.
Bro, wow. And now how do you, you know, people always ask, so how do you stop seller and buyer from talking about price if you were doing it virtually?
So there's several ways you can do it. Most of the time, the houses that we run across are vacant. Now, if you don't have a vacant property, what you want to do is say, you need to know your buyers. And if you have that distrust with your buyers, then you just don't need to do business with them. Right. And I think that's where, you know, when you have that house under contract, you hold the gold and you make the rules. My buyers are very clear what our business model is. We sell wholesale properties. We do not double close. We assign these properties. One of our questions that we ask is, listen, I might get a property under contract for $1 and I might assign it to you for $50,000. So if you have a problem with me making $49,999 and that still fits in your budget, in your range, then you're not a buyer for us, right? So understand that we're going to put a number out there. If the number works for you, buy it. If it doesn't, don't buy it. If you go to close it and you find out that we made $25,000 and you want to back out of the deal, you will never buy from me again. You will probably never buy from anybody else in the city again, because that's not the game we play. We spend a lot of money up front to find these deals. It takes a lot of time and effort. I'm sure every time you get a house under contract, you're smiling, you're ringing the victory bell. It took a lot of work, you know? So the buyers understand that. Good buyers understand that. If you have a problem with that, then you probably need to find new buyers.
Gotcha. I love it, man.
Just tell the seller up front when you start talking to them. One of the things I set the stage early, I say, listen, it's in a group of investors. It's few of us here. So I'm going to get the property under contract, and sometime my partner's going to need to come by the house. Because if I don't put the money up for it, he's going to put the money up for it. If he doesn't, there's 4 or 5 of us in this group. Set that expectation so that they're like, okay, yeah, we know that. Say, hey, look, we buy 10 houses or more a month. I don't buy all of them. My partner might buy one. I might buy one.
Very nice, man. Great tips, Max. Mm-hmm. Thanks for all the knowledge, Max. I really, really appreciate it. And so, hey, Max, I just want to say, you guys, thanks, Max, for taking time to get on here to pour, the knowledge. I hope you guys learn a lot from this. And you guys, it's all about taking action. So don't watch this video and don't do anything. Go drive for dollar. Hit it this weekend. Hit it up and find your first deal and make it happen. And you guys, if you guys do like this, kind of interview, smash that subscribe button. If you do enjoy it, smash that thumbs up for me. Don't be shy. And Max, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. So yeah.
Thank you so much for thanks for so much for having me on, and I'll definitely I'll like the video and I'll share it myself too.
Appreciate it, Max. Thank you so much, man. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye, Max.